I'll make you some pumpkin pie, Nobushin.
I don't even know if I like pumpkin, to be honest with you. I never had pumpkin.
Pumpkin itself, like actual pumpkin, is. I'm not huge on gourd vegetables, like squash and pumpkin and.
I think the seeds always freak me out about it.
Yeah,
Well, freaked out is the wrong word for it, but like that just made me never wanted to try
it's
it.
not
The seeds of what?
appetizing. Seeds for pumpkin.
Oh, pumpkin's gross, dude.
Listen, the thing is, like dried pumpkin seeds, like you eat them, they're crunchy. They're actually pretty good.
Mhm.
I don't like any part of the pumpkin. The pumpkin seeds, the pumpkin itself.
Do you like pumpkin
And trust
pie?
me, I've tried it.
I don't know. Like I don't like pumpkin really outside of pumpkin pie. I'll say that.
Okay.
But and pumpkin spice latte. Am I right? No. Hey, welcome to bonus content. We're gonna do a shorter bonus content here. I want.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much you want to say about your teeth.
Well, I mean,
Scott.
it's this week was I've been pretty much all about my teeth and no games, so that's basically my segment right now.
Bonus content is Scott City. Let's go. So Scott, you weren't here last week because your mouth was exploding.
Okay, so I'm sure you filled them in that last week I wasn't here because I was having some teeth troubles.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, my wisdom tooth in the back that I decided to keep.
Yeah.
And had filled, which, by the way, don't do that.
Okay.
If something happens to your wisdom teeth, get rid of them
Get them taken care of
because they can't fix them. So that started hurting on Thursday night.
Okay.
I didn't think much of it because an Advil worked at the time. Now I went to bed.
I like that we're establishing a timeline. Part of the mystery.
Friday rolls around. I'm like, it's still hurting. This might be a problem. I took an Advil and it didn't work.
Advils fix everything.
It didn't help. It's like
Well, the
Robitussin.
thing about it is, it's what happens with it is when your gums swell and the nerve gets in there.
Oh
when
yeah.
the nerve in there kind of swells with it,
Yeah.
and then it kills itself.
Yeah.
The space is too small for it to swell, so it ruptures, kills itself, and it because of how small that space is, it cannot heal.
It's like I'm going out like a champ. That's terrible, but accurate, yes. At what point were you like, I should probably go somewhere? Was it like when your mouth was giant? Like this is my image.
So no, if you looked at me, the only way that you could tell that there was something wrong with me is that I was visibly miserable.
Fair enough, yeah.
But yeah. So it wasn't a thing like the tooth was super sensitive. It was just hurting all the time.
Okay.
So I tried calling the dentist that day, and as I was calling, my phone died. I was like,
Oh my
great.
God.
Great. This isn't getting done
Scott's
today.
really very bad day. That's what the story turned into.
So and the reason it was like that was because I had no access to a computer because the phone was served that purpose. I was basically out of time for lunch because that's what I had decided. Like in the middle of lunch is what I decided. All right, you know what? This is probably going to be a problem. Let's call the dentist.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was basically going to be late getting back to work had I tried to go and fix the problem, and not by late by like 5 minutes, late by an hour.
Yeah.
Or 30 minutes. And when I'm on an assembly line.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work.
Yeah. Fuck.
So
did you
I
work
keep
the rest
working.
Of the day?
Huh? Yeah, I did.
Oh,
absolutely. God. I worked till 7.
Oh.
Yeah, from 9 until 7.
That sounds miserable.
That's a 10-hour day.
Yeah, that is. 10 hours.
So
toothpick.
2 hours later, the Advil wears off.
Yeah.
And it worked kind of. Because it kind of reduced the pain a little bit. but now it hurts real bad, and the tooth is now swelling.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh. Was it
I
like
worked through the rest
visible?
of it kind of in pain. It kind of felt like the last 4 hours felt like the entire day. You know, that whole deal.
Yeah, of
And then I
course.
got home, and then I noticed that I could not close my mouth
Oh.
without hitting that tooth because it was that
Yeah.
swollen.
Yeah, okay. The idea of like a swollen tooth, like a swollen bone, sounds like the worst.
Well, it's your gums swell, so
Yeah.
because it's not completely attached to your jaw, I don't think it pushes it upwards,
Yeah, pushes it
and
up.
the bite line is millimeter small.
Yep. So it's coming together, man. It's hurting.
It doesn't take a whole lot. So that was when I found out that I couldn't eat.
Yeah, that sounds like a problem. So you get some
Um,
applesauce and you're like, let's go to town?
broccoli soup.
Oh, okay. That works. Nice and mushy.
Yep,
Um
broccoli soup is
when
pretty good.
when did you yeah, it is. I agree. When did you get to the dentist?
Monday.
Jesus. How was
So
the
basically,
weekend?
it was broken down into like, listen, you can go to the emergency room, and then you'll wait all night and all day to get an appointment Sunday evening,
Yeah.
or you can wait till Monday, call up, say it's an emergency, and because you call, start opening time Monday, and you also left the voicemail because I kind of skipped the part where I left the voicemail. You'll get in.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can wait.
At what point did
Wait,
you
I did.
at what point did you regret waiting?
Um, well, I think it beats 36 hours in the ER
Yeah, that's true.
because they
I've
don't have a dentist on staff. The ERs generally don't. They have to call one in. And if it's not an emergency, as in if there is no hole in your tooth, which somebody will come and look for it, they will take their time.
yeah, as is the case. I had a situation or a similar situation where I waited like 8 hours at the ER. It was less urgent, I guess you could say. And they were like, "All right, we can check you in, and you have to stay overnight." And I was like, "Never mind, I'm going home. It's just not worth it. I just don't want to sit around do nothing."
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. How did the dentist trip go?
Well, we're not there yet
Okay, I didn't know
because
this.
we are now moving into Saturday.
Yeah, the story is developing.
Yep. So Saturday I figured out I have to help move Casey's apartment because apartment business.
Yeah.
You know how landlords like to jack up the price, and it's like, hi, it's cheaper to go elsewhere now.
Yeah, time to leave. I do know that actually from experience.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds miserable though.
And at this point, I found the strong painkiller.
Oh, okay.
So
The
I
good.
Advil's a strand of ibuprofen, or just branded ibuprofen.
Yep.
That's 200 milligrams.
Yep. You found that good stuff. That
I
400
found the
milligrams.
800.
Oh, the 800. Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know why I had the 800s, but I had the 800, so I took one of those. My
Mhm.
stomach did not feel good about it.
Yeah, as is normal.
And I did eat before I took it.
Okay.
And but the swelling went down.
Okay.
So
That's
now
progress.
it only really hurt when I put pressure on it.
Okay.
Not like tapping it, but like actively putting pressure on it. So I'm like, you know what? I can deal with this. But if you take a look at it, there's a giant warning about prolonged use of ibuprofen.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit. Because I had been on it's I wasn't gonna get it till Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And being on Advil for about 4 days. I don't remember what I used it for on Thursday, but I did for something.
Yeah.
Being on ibuprofen for that long, or any kind of NSAID,
Yeah.
NSAID is a bad idea. Real bad idea.
Yeah.
So I came to the realization it's like I'm going to have to take a good 8-hour break a day from this. And that's not going to be when I sleep because I'm not sleeping when I don't have it on.
Yeah. Fuck. And how miserable was that?
Oh, it was real bad.
Did the swelling go back up when you were off the ibuprofen?
Oh, immediately. Immediately.
Oh my god. Was that like basically your Sunday? Was just like the miserable time off?
That was basically my Saturday and my Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
I sat there, I felt the tooth pain, and I had to do other work through it.
God.
Which when something is swelling, the last thing you want to do is get your heart rate up.
Yeah.
Which is what I was doing.
Great. It sounds like a very productive day for you, Scott. To be fair, you have a very high pain threshold compared to someone like me, who I would qualify as a big baby boy.
Maybe.
Maybe just a little
it's you learn when this is actively dangerous and my body's just being an asshole.
Yeah. I mean,
when it's the latter, it's a lot easier to deal with.
You live your life on the dangerous side, to be fair. So how was the dentist on Monday?
So I got to the dentist and I was like, yay. Because I called up 8:59 just in case the clocks were 1 minute early. Mm-hmm. And they picked up. And they were able to see me basically an hour later into the day.
That's good.
So
when he saw you, was time. He like, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah, because at that point, I didn't know exactly that it was an infected gum.
Yeah.
Oh, I knew that it was swollen, it was hurting.
It was bad.
And yeah, it was bad. So I got in and they hit me with a whole lot of anesthetic.
I was like, felt good though. Like, oh yeah, this is the good stuff.
Yep, they hit me with way. I like to say it was way too much, but honestly, because the
situation was so severe.
Well, no, it's infected nerves, like in the tooth, take a lot more to get numbed down.
Yeah. Did they like?
And if it gets real bad, they can't numb it all the way.
Was it like the needle? Like,
oh yeah, gigantic needle.
Local anesthetic. Oh hell yeah, let's go.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, it's even if you're bad with needles, you know how you deal with that?
How?
They numb the area on the outside so you can't feel the needle go in, so you close your eyes.
Yeah. And then you just don't know.
And then you, so long as they don't touch your mouth, you don't know.
Yeah.
I they didn't touch my mouth. So I didn't know until I opened my eyes. And I was like, oh, they're still doing it. I'm like, wait a second. I'm not bad with needles.
Yeah. You're like, I want to watch this.
I'm bad with drills.
Yeah.
Which thankfully they didn't have to drill into my tooth to pull it.
That's good.
Nah, they stick a needle in your tooth.
Yeah.
I'm 10 times more comfortable with that.
Did they take care of everything on Monday, or did you have to come back later?
Oh no, it's because my wisdom teeth grew in perfectly fine, like as basically a new tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling is just yanking.
Okay, that's good.
And then the only problem with it is that it's a little close, so it kind of squeezes them together, and it doesn't hit the other side of the gum. So it's in that position where so close, but sorry, your teeth have to get pulled.
Yeah.
Except for one.
Is there one wisdom tooth in you?
One. I have one wisdom tooth left, and after taking a look at it, They're like, yeah, that one's probably gonna stay fine.
The wisest wizard tooth.
But I mean, all the other ones are gone without the complementing tooth. It's kind of useless.
Yeah. Oh God, that sounds miserable. I'm
Well,
glad.
no, once you have the anesthetic in, it's great, especially compared to what you were dealing with before.
I mean, like the whole 9 yards, like the from pain to anesthetic
Yeah,
to
it's
tugging, like
the Friday or Thursday night to Monday, waking up was pretty bad.
yeah.
After I got to the dentist, everything was great.
Okay. How long was the recovery for wisdom teeth?
It's still happening.
Great.
So to give people a rundown of that, it's for your first day, you are on a liquid diet
Yeah.
and you can't talk.
Did you do any of the ice cream? Like you're like, I want ice cream.
Ice cream is for tonsils,
It's true. I have my
not
tonsils
for
ready.
wisdom teeth.
I got some slushies.
Like you can, but honestly, having anything with sugar cane stuff like that, bad because you can't brush your teeth.
Okay, yeah, true. Build up more plaque than necessary.
Yeah, when you'll do it, you'll get the whole rundown. But the basic is it's soft foods only. If you have both, if you're doing both at the same time, it's liquid diet. No straws. You have to bite down on the gauze pad all day.
Ugh.
Well, for about 4 hours.
Okay. More reason.
Because it's not one gauze pad. You change it out until the blood clots. So mine's real easy. So I only have to do it for 2 hours.
Okay. That's not
so and then it's a bunch of other things. Can't, even though you're on a liquid diet, you can't use a straw.
Aww.
You have to avoid the sucking motion.
I try to do that every day of my life, Scott. I fail, as I'm sure you know.
And then after the first 48 hours, you should still keep talking to a minimum. Although they don't tell you not to talk exactly on like the instructions.
It just felt like a good idea.
But don't do it.
Okay.
Because it's when you want to keep all jaw movement to a minimum while you're recovering.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
At the very least for the first 48 hours, while the swelling's high, and especially if the blood clot hasn't started yet, because the big problem with teeth removal isn't it healing up, because that'll just happen regardless of how bad you fuck it up. It is your tooth getting infected afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense. Open wound in the mouth and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling today?
Real good.
Good. Are you back on a solid diet?
Yep. I can eat regularly again. However, I can't eat chips or nuts. Anything that doesn't soften after it hits my mouth, I can't eat.
Okay. But PB&J, that's in the clear.
Ah.
Unless it's crunchy peanut butter, I guess.
Yeah, crunchy peanut butter I can't have. I can have normal PB&J, but I still wouldn't.
Yeah.
Simply because basically the harder you think it'll be to get out of the hole, the less inclined you should be to eat it.
What was the first thing you ate when you were allowed to eat solid food again?
I think I had spaghetti and meat sauce.
Ooh, good choice. It's a spaghetti. That means I don't know. I'm glad you're feeling better, Scott.
Yep.
You're just trying to tear yourself apart every week, it feels like. We're not trying to. It just seems to happen to you. Nabishan, do you still have your wisdom teeth?
No, mine got pulled years ago when I got my braces.
They pulled it when you got your braces?
Yeah, like because they saw like it would be an issue in my future life. that like, because my teeth were fine, just like like it would mess up my braces, like straighten up my teeth eventually. So like they pulled it out before I got my braces, and then I don't even remember the process honestly. Like like I got put down and like I remember spitting in the cup. I remember spitting in the cup for like a good few days and having gauze in my mouth for a few days, and that's all I really remember about the whole process of having wisdom teeth.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, you're not supposed to spit.
Yeah, well, back in the 1980s when Nobshin got his wisdom teeth. No, that's great that they noticed that, because when I got my braces put on, they're like, your wisdom teeth are probably gonna fuck this up afterwards, and they did. Didn't do anything about it, but now when I bite, it looks like this, and it's terrible. It's a nice big old gap in my mouth. Well, thank you for the update, Scott. I think that's gonna do it for bonus content. I do want to say, for video viewers, check out this rad shirt that I'm wearing. Huh?
You can't get any more, but hey.
You could have had this, you motherfucker. It came out great. I'm very excited about the input shirt. Yeah, I gotta get my wisdom teeth taken out. And I'll probably do that within the next 6 months. That is my plan after this horror story that you've shared with us, Scott. Let's how about you guys want to talk about video games? Sure. Let's start recording a podcast. More emails. I was checking my phone and more emails about PAX East. All right. Thank you everybody for watching, hanging out in the chat. Also, you guys got Audacity ready? Ready to go? All right, let's do it. I'm gonna assume you're ready, Scott.
I'm ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. I've had a very long week. And they didn't give me my normal Wednesday off. I had to work Wednesday. I was very upset about it. And I have to work tomorrow. I'm tired. Let's do this. Let's do a podcast. It is Friday, March 30th, 2018, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I am your host, Alex O'Neill, and joining me this week, we have Scott Guthier. Silence.
Fuck you.
All right, fair enough. And Brian Nobshin Jackson.
Look, the moon shows us for what we really are. We are not among the living, so we cannot die, but neither are we dead. For too long I've been purged of thirst and unable to quench it. Too long I've been starving to death and haven't died. I feel nothing, not the wind on my face, nor the spray of the sea, nor the warmth of a woman's flesh. You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
And the Holly Jolly Pirates of the Caribbean will be joining us next week. Very exciting. PAX East. Why Pirates of the Caribbean? Well, you're just thinking about Curse of the Black Pearl. You're like, man, that was a good one.
Like there was a bit on Easy Allies like a while ago where it's like you used to just say you're in one all the time, and they just said it in the Barbosa voice. It was funny. Yeah. So I kept it in my log of like, oh, I should make this an intro because of a thing. Because like I always forget. I was tapped out. I was like I couldn't think of anything, and I just looked at my list like, oh yeah, I haven't used that one. So I don't know what else I got.
That's a good one.
This whole thing is running on fumes right now.
That's all right. You'll bounce back. I believe in you. You can always imitate Scott one week. You still haven't done that.
I said hello.
I don't know, but the full Scott then Tony then you parody. Anyway, hey, welcome to Irrational Passions podcast. We got a good show lined up for you all. Tony's not here. He broke things. Him and PC Gaming broke drivers on his computer. That's how I understand it.
Yeah, it's a good thing I don't have auto updates on.
Hell yeah. Auto updates, the Curse of the Black Pearl, the Curse of the Black
I'm pretty
Pearl.
sure we have the same graphics card.
I think so. I believe so.
I mean, it's by the same manufacturer. He said it was a GeForce update, so I mean, I'd have gotten the same update and it would have broken all my shit, so I'm not fucking touching shit.
That's the spirit. So, a couple of things before we get started here. Some stuff went up on IrrationalPod.com. There's some great articles. You should go read it there. And I'll get through that housekeeping first. There is a video review of Kirby Star Allies you should go check out. I don't know if y'all have heard of this Kirby Star Allies video game, but it seems totally fine, I guess. And Scott White wrote a review of The Alliance Alive. It's a new JRPG from Atlas. It seems pretty cool. It's a 3DS game, but it's rad. He also wrote a Professor RPG on it as well. It's kind of like a little intro to it if you want to get into The Alliance Alive and get you all set up for those systems. And new input is up as well about that whole Twitch personality situation that's going on. So, big thing, though, we are going to be at PAX East next week. It's not going to be a normal show. We're going to do, like, some kind of live show from PAX East. That's currently the plan. So you all get to take the week off, but we're going to hopefully not set our Airbnb on fire. We're staying in...
that's how you're doing this year.
Yeah, we're going to try something different. We're going to try and do some live stuff, live streams from a couple of the nights there. Kind of giant bomb post-show style.
Why has that always been a thing for everybody? Just Airbnb.
Airbnb? How long has that been? Or how long?
I was like, why has that never been a thing for like anybody? Like, because like a lot of people are doing Kind of Funny this year, and you're now just doing this on
Well, I tried to get one last year, but the deal was like we couldn't get a good one in time. Like we couldn't get the finances and stuff in together, and also at the time, Danny Juarez worked at like a hotel, so he got like a really good discount at that same hotel chain. So we ended up doing it that way, and it was cheaper. Airbnb has this new thing that's great now where you can actually split the payment in Airbnb in the website. So you can like send an email to everyone, and once they confirm, like it bills everybody their portion individually, which I don't think you could do before. Oh, jeez, I keep doing that every show. It's just when will Alex hit his microphone? But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna do some live streams. Some of the nights we're hoping to do it like Friday night and maybe Saturday night, or Thursday and Saturday night. We'll see how it breaks down, but those are going to be archived on YouTube either way. They're probably going to be live on YouTube as well. They won't be on Twitch necessarily. We might do some videos, queue up some videos to play while we talk there. They should be about an hour long is what we're shooting for, but yeah, we got a 6-man squad rolling up to Boston next week. It's going to be crazy awesome. Just check the website frequently throughout the weekend to see a bunch of new stuff posting, and probably throughout the week after as well. And I'm sure I'll go through it all when I get back the week afterward. But yeah, it's gonna be a great time. If you're gonna be there, come say hi. We'd love to meet up with you and say hi. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. I always say PAX East is like our E3. You know, we do a lot of content for it. #content. And I think we do some of our best work during that show and at that show. So if you are looking forward to stuff, I just found out Dark Souls Remastered is going to be playable on the show floor there. So you know I'm going to play that. So yeah, I'm very excited. I got my pre-PAX haircut. It's all coming up Millhouse. Coming up something. I don't know. Whatever the kids say. But let's okay, I'll take that.
That's what the kids say. That's what I was trying to say.
I guess, yeah. I saw you use the word lit, like, just casually in a tweet, and I'm like, I'm proud of you, Nobshin.
It happens every once in a while.
It happens every now and again. Go listen to the bonus content on youtube.com/irrational passions for this episode to hear Scott's horror stories about teeth. If you want some good Scott content. As Scott continues to not play video games. Is that the case as we transition into video games? You play anything this week, Scott?
It kind of just is. Because like even though the one throughput game, because you know how I've quote unquote been playing it, BDO's been it's just been the AFK game. Yeah. And it's mostly just because even though I had spring break, it was the two things just made me sad.
Yeah.
And it's 10-hour work days on top of school and homework.
Yeah, I get you. Did you are you going to join Tony on his like secret private Black Desert Online server?
No.
Okay. we got into the weeds on that one last week, so.
Okay.
I'm curious where you were at.
But yeah, no, that's the that is something that could very easily be shut down at some point, and it's a type of game that requires an investment to put into it.
Yeah.
I mean, why would I drop what I'm invested in to go ahead and invest in something that's probably going to get taken away?
Yeah, I get you.
Because they are trying to shut it down, and I took a look at it, and they can get legally shut down.
Yeah, I just like the pirate radio Black Desert Online server. Like, it's just the Black Desert Online narrative on this show throughout the last year has just been very interesting to me, in a very like boring, why do we have to talk about Black Desert Online way. But that aside, Nino Kuni 2 is out. I just want to remind you, Scott. I know I told you before we started the show. Very good. I'll talk about it in a moment. I played some video games. Nabishin, would you like to hear about them? Scott, would you like to hear about them?
I'd like to hear about them.
I guess.
There's a very cool game that came out, and it's called A Way Out. This was for folks listening or unaware of it. This was like announced as like EA's kind of like indie-ish game last year. Joseph Fares, the guy that both freaked out at the Game Awards and said "fuck the Oscars," and also the guy that made the game Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons last generation, is the main developer of this.
He's a very passionate man. I want to say
very passionate man. I feel like that comes across in his game as well. So I paired up with the only man I know how to co-op with, and that's Jacob Bryant. Once for writer at Variety.com, now a free agent, also on vacation currently in Japan for 2 weeks.
Fuck yeah! I wish I knew that.
Yeah. He's sent me some very interesting pictures from Japan because, as you know, Nabishin, and you know as well, Scott, Jacob Bryant is a bit of a giant man, and no one in Japan is as tall as Jacob Bryant. So he's just walking around like a fucking Godzilla, stomping on everything. So, but we played through I believe about the first half of A Way Out. And that game is, I feel like it's also being very cool. Like, I like it a lot. I think you would like it a lot, Nabishin. I actually really want you to play this. I wouldn't mind playing it with you as well. Because this game reminds me a lot of Heavy Rain and Until Dawn. Like, it reminds me of those two games the most. It has that kind of kitschy, corny style. It's self-aware enough of that it's like it's having fun with you, or it feels like it is. I know like a lot of people have criticized it for kind of like maybe taking itself too seriously, but I feel like it takes itself about as seriously as it needs to. And for the most part, like, it really does play like a co-op, one of those kind of interactive narrative games. What's cool is, so like, there are two characters, Vincent and Leon, or Leo, not Leon. And the two characters have kind of two different mentalities. Like, it's cool because at the front it like lets you select your character that you want to play. And it gives you like this list of personality traits, and it's like one is like really kind of aggressive and a little bit impulsive and kind of like tends to take more of the violent way out. The other's kind of like the thinker, and the person that takes it back is a little bit more inquisitive. So I'm like, all right, well, Jacob, this aggressive person fits your personality much more. So like, each of the characters can do everything in the game. Like, they can solve the problems, but it's just they're going to do it in a different way. I think it all pretty much gets you to the same place, so it's maybe not as interesting as a Heavy Rain that has multiple endings. I don't actually know if this game has multiple endings. I would bet
doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah.
Oh, actually, it does. It has two endings.
Okay. But it's fun in that if like you have a problem that you need to solve, depending on who is proactive in solving it, which player is proactive in solving it, it'll get solved in a different way, and I think that's pretty fun. But yeah, it's a lot of like in a split screen the whole time, even though we were playing online co-op. So you can see and hear what the other person is doing the whole time.
Yes,
it's done smart though. Like if let's say Jacob's playing Leo in my game, and
is it couch co-op split screen too?
It is couch co-op split screen as well, which is cool. I
yes.
like that it gives you both options, but it's split screen the whole time, no matter what. It's like, no one's really done that, and I think it's rad, and I know that's what they were going for, is something different.
I kind of just want to play it. Are we gonna have to do an extra life version of this?
We could do an extra life version of this. Apparently it's not too long. It's like 6 or so hours long. So,
it's gonna get us through that 9 hours.
Yeah, it's true. This actually, it would fit in a similar block as like Until Dawn. I feel like it would be a fun group co-op game. Mm-hmm. But like, let's say Jacob.
That's gotta be a me and you deal there.
Yeah, I'm down. Jacob's like talking to somebody on his side of the screen, and I'm talking to somebody on mine. Since like we're not in the same room, it'll actually lower the volume of his conversation and raise the volume of mine for me, and it'll do the reverse for him. So it'll like do some pretty smart balancing of the audio to kind of fit what you're doing as well. So it seems really, really well put together. The some of the scenarios, have been like whatever. Like there's one where you're rowing a boat, and you have to kind of like, one person's in the back and they can kind of they'll fit the speed a little bit more. The other person's in the front, and you have to like switch sides to help change the direction and whatnot. And that was kind of like the weakest of the scenarios, but it's cool. They'll give you like binary choices of like, here's Leo's plan and here's Vince's plan. Which plan do you want to do? It's like one is kind of like the more passive plan, the one's the other kind of more aggressive plan. So like, for example, after you break out of prison, which spoilers happens like pretty much right away, there is you like roll up to a house with like this old couple. And you can either go in the house and tie up the couple, or try and cause like a loud distraction outside the house and get them out of the house so that you can go in and like change your clothes and do what you need to do without them seeing you. And I was like, let's be bad. We just rolled up on that house and started fucking robbing them. And yeah, it's cool that it gives you the choices and lets the scenarios play out in different ways. Again, you kind of get to the same spot at the end of that scene no matter what, but you'll get a very different tone and some different objectives and things throughout, depending on how you approach it. So it's cool. It's very silly. It's very corny. There's a lot of angst. So it feels almost like disturbingly like a game targeted at how Jacob, Brian, and I play video games together, which is great. It's great for us. Like, it fits us perfectly. So we were having a great time. But that's a way out. I don't know if you've played any Nabishan. I don't know if you want to play any, but I would say you would dig that game a lot.
It seemed like something I would take. I looked into it, but it's the whole multiplayer thing that's
I know it's one of those things where it's like it'll never happen, but if given the opportunity, I would say try and make that happen. It's cool. So Jacob bought the game, and I downloaded the demo. There's the whole thing where you don't need to own the game to play with someone who owns it. So we did that, and it worked fine. The only thing is I didn't get any trophies or achievements for playing with him, which is fine. But it worked totally fine. There was no issues. I just like loaded up the demo version, and then he invited me, and then we started playing. So it was cool that just worked, and there was no headache or hassle with it. So, and it's not just one person. You can play with anybody or multiple people with the demo too. So, the other big thing I've been playing this week, which is kind of weird, I started watching. There's a GiantBomb.com series called The Exquisite Core. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Nabishan.
I
am. To give you kind of an idea of it, Scott, because I think you'd think it's cool. Basically, the Giant Bomb East staff members, Abby Russell, Alex Navarro and Dan Reichert are all playing the same game of XCOM Enemy Within, which is the expansion to the first XCOM Enemy Unknown. They're all playing like the same game, but basically they're picking up where the last person left off. So Abby will play for an hour and then write a report on what happened in her missions and whatnot, and then give that to Alex. Alex will play for an hour and then write a report and give that to Dan, and then Dan will pick up. So if like one of them fucks up really bad, the other two will eventually have to deal with the repercussions of that. And it's a really cool idea. It's honestly a really great feature. They're like 23 episodes in. So I was like, man, fuck, I really want to play XCOM now. I actually played most of the first XCOM last week. I just totally forgot to talk about it on last week's show. Not that we didn't have enough things to talk about it then. But yeah, I basically played through a whole new game of XCOM Enemy Within. The first game with its major expansion and DLC. Game's still great, as it turns out. Played on Iron Man, and it's just super fun. Like, I'm pretty good at that game now. I kind of know what trees to go into early on, and like what weapons to get, and how to upgrade things in the best order for me, so that I don't really lose a lot of people. But that game is awesome. And on my XCOM kick, I was like, you know what? I will get the expansion to XCOM 2, which I have not played yet, and I'll see what's up with that. So I got the War of the Chosen expansion to XCOM 2, and I started playing through that. Man, XCOM 2 is like more of a bummer going back to it, especially after playing the first one, like right up close to it than I remember it being, which sucks. I appreciate a lot of the stuff that they do in that game, and I'll get into like what they add in the expansion, which I think is pretty cool. It's a lot, but I think it's cool in a minute. But just like, I played through that game. I was playing it on normal Iron Man at first, and I actually I was just not having a good time. So I went back and started a new game on easy, off of Iron Man, and I was having a much more enjoyable time. It's just and I, the balancing in that game is just really aggressive. Which I don't think is inherently a bad thing. I just don't when you compare it to the way the first game is balanced. I think it does not stack up. There are too many things that it's impossible to prepare for, and if you don't prepare for them, your whole team's gonna get wiped. And it seems like XCOM 2 far more frequently sets you up for failure than the first game does. XCOM Enemy Unknown is more about you're going to have to make sacrifices, and you're going to lose sometimes, but typically it's tactical sacrifices, kind of like Fire Emblem.
You're almost there, because I see what you're trying to say, but I wanna frame it this way, because they kind of out and did this on purpose. Mm-hmm. In XCOM Enemy Unknown, you were going to lose some, but you could basically plan to lose extremely minimally. Lose basically, you bring along a person to lose, because in the grand scheme of things, to your team, they're an extra that you kind of never asked for, that you got for some reason. Stuff like that. So you planned for your core people to all stay alive, and that was perfectly doable. Because when times got tough, you could turtle, you could do all these things to keep yourself alive.
Yeah.
XCOM 2, on the other hand, they force you out of that zone. They force you to go ahead, and they force you to keep pushing ahead to do the mission before you get caught in a failure. Or they basically force you to sacrifice more than you otherwise would have.
My thing with XCOM 2 is that game will throw things that you just couldn't prepare for at you, which is, I think, fine, but and even playing through it on easy mode after having way too unfun a time with the normal difficulty, it will still just throw things at you very early on that just completely destroy you. And it's just there are tons and tons and tons of different enemy units in that game, and almost every mission they'll introduce at least one, which I think is cool, but it ends up causing a lot of problems as far as like
generally the only way to get through it is say goodbye to your two best guys.
Well, it's not even that. It's like this is gonna wipe my whole team, like, and then I'll fail the mission, and then I have 5 less soldiers or 4 less soldiers early on, and there's like no way to recover from that.
I've never run into that big of a problem.
And again, like, I played this game back when it came out in 2016, and I didn't have nearly as much trouble as I did.
Maybe they updated it.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely updated that game a lot. Because I remember, like, getting through that game on normal Iron Man mode, like, pretty fine. And to be fair, there's a lot of new stuff that they add with
the... Oh, yeah, none of these games are easy. Getting through normal Iron Man it's rough.
Mm-hmm. And, like, it's definitely harder than the first game, but, like, I don't remember it feeling unfair. And to be fair, like I was going to say, they had a lot of stuff in this War of the Chosen expansion. And it tends to, like, just be like, there's a whole lot going on, and I don't know if I understand all of it. So that could have thrown a wrench in it, too. I have a better understanding of that stuff now that I've kind of finished XCOM 2 again with the expansion. So just, like, to kind of lay it out, the War of the Chosen expansion, it adds, like, a whole new kind of tier to the story. And it adds these 3 factions, the Templars, the Reapers, and the Skirmishers. Those aren't the exact names, but it's the gist of it. Those are, like, 3 new classes that you can recruit as team members to your army. And there are also, like, 3 rebel factions that are outside of the XCOM rebel faction. So, like, the Reapers are kind of like stealthier, sniper-based units. And the Skirmishers are, like, aggressive, attack-based units that have, like, this hook shot that they can hook in, like, humanoid enemies and attack them. So they can actually pull them to you and attack them. And the Templars are, like, psionic, melee-based units. So there are 3 different, like, factions, and there's, like, a whole story added with them. What's cool is, like, the Skirmishers are the, like, half alien, half human hybrids that have, like, defected from the alien side. So they added a pretty cool story with that, and basically along with them are these 3 special boss enemies called the Chosen, right? And it's funny, like, I remember us being like, man, you know, who picked up the Nemesis system from Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor? It ends up it was XCOM 2 because there is a system in this game that is essentially exactly the Nemesis system, and it's implemented in a really, really cool way. So these 3 chosen enemies are like alien human hybrids, but they're like bosses pretty much. And anytime you are on a mission in their territory, they can show up in that mission at random, and they have special perks and weaknesses that are literally exactly like the kind of Shadow of Mordor perks and weaknesses that you would see in that game. And those are randomly generated to some extent, so they might be different on each playthrough. But so it's not necessarily like an enemy killed you and then it became a chosen and whatnot, kind of like how it is in Shadow of Mordor. But these special enemies you are kind of vying for territory against. So let's say there's like the melee based one. She'll show up, and she has a perk that makes it so she doesn't trigger Overwatch shots. But she might also have a weakness that makes her weak to explosions. One time after
good luck.
Yeah, right. One time after I like beat her with a grenade, the next time I fought her, she had a new strength, and it's like no longer takes damage from explosions. And it's like, oh,
Fuck.
okay. So exactly right. So it's like they will get stronger as you. If I beat you with a grenade or something, it's like, all right, now grenades don't work against you, which reminds me a lot of the Shadow of Mordor system. And it's cool because you have to like. So they brought back covert operations, which was a part of the first the major expansion to the first XCOM game. So they brought that over to the expansion XCOM 2, where you can kind of send 1 or 2 operatives out on a secret mission and they'll either gather intel or learn more about one of the chosen enemies. So you have to kind of send multiple units on multiple covert ops to eventually find the stronghold for this chosen, go to their stronghold, and then fight them in this big boss fight. And it's cool. It's like, having a boss unit in an XCOM game is weird because eventually you'll get to the point where, like, well, I have 6 dudes and there's really one of this boss unit, so, like, I'm just going to take it out in one turn, which, you do get there. But because they have those special modifiers that kind of evolve and change as you fight against them multiple times, it ends up being pretty cool. So like the covert ops, these boss enemies, and those 3 factions are the big things that they added with some new research in between. What's cool is like these the Templar, Reaper, and Skirmisher units all have like their perks are kind of a mix of the other 4 main units in XCOM, so they're kind of like really cool hybrid units, and they can serve really different purposes on the battlefield. So overall, it's a really cool expansion. It's just like a fuck ton of systems because like not only does it add these 3 factions and all the covert ops and like different research and intel and things and all the boss enemies, there's like on the world map that you explore and expand on, each faction has its own HQ that you can then go and like spend time at to get different buffs. Like one will give you intel, one will heal your units faster, one will like I forget what the third one does, but whereas in the original XCOM 2 it's like if you just like sit at your headquarters you just get intel, and it's like, all right, I can understand one thing, but now they're like 3 different things and you have to kind of like find the headquarters for each faction. It's just a whole lot going on. So it took me a while before I really had a grasp on the systems, but it's really cool. Like I didn't expect to see the Nemesis system implemented in XCOM of all games, but I think the way they did it was really smart and done really well. And there's definitely like a fuckload of new content in this expansion, so it's rad. It just maybe messed up the balancing for XCOM 2 a little bit. But I don't know. They added some new units. Oh, like one of the big things is they added like this new type of enemy. It's basically a new kind of mission where you fight against the Lost. The Lost are essentially like zombie enemies. What's cool about fighting the Lost is, so essentially you fight like 12 or 15 of them at a time, and they'll come in huge waves. If you kill a Lost enemy, and they're pretty weak, like they can only do melee attacks because they're basically like skinny zombies. But they can, since they come in such big numbers, they'll swarm around your units and just decimate you if you don't take care of them. But if you kill a Lost unit with a weapon attack, it counts as a headshot, and then you get another free action. So you can just like kill 3 with 1 unit in a single turn. Especially the commandos. Yeah. Anybody with a shotgun can knock those Lost out, but again, they need to be kind of in close. But it's a cool idea. I think if you were gonna implement like hordes of enemies, like zombie enemies, in a turn-based strategy tactics game, I thought it was a pretty cool implementation. It just ends up like those missions end up taking a really long time because you have to like just mow through dozens and dozens of enemies.
Right.
Which takes a lot of time. And XCOM 2 is still pretty buggy as fuck. Definitely not as bad as it was when I played it originally. It's smoothed out a lot, but there were still times where I was just kind of like, I selected a unit and it's just sitting there for a minute, and then like the options to like go into Overwatch or shoot an enemy pop up. But yeah, it's a good time. I'm happy I went and saw that expansion because I really kind of forgotten about XCOM 2. But I'm glad that I at least saw it. It came out last summer. The expansion did. I think it was August of last year. So XCOM is still good, still great, I would say. It's just a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of systems. Other big thing I played, still playing Yakuza 6. That game goes places. I'm just gonna say that and kind of move on. Ni no Kuni 2.
You're close to the end of that?
I'm pretty close. I can feel like the last chapter I played was called The Conspiracy. And I was like, all right, there's hella conspiracies in that game. Like every chapter it's like revealing like this big twist. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's just Yakuza, dude.
It's pretty great. Like it's a lot. It's a little much sometimes, but I'm like, I'm here for it. You know me. Like I'm all about that kind of stuff. So, have you played Kiwami yet, Namashin?
Yeah, I'm still in the middle of playing that. Like even when Yakuza 6 comes out, like I don't think I'm actually gonna play it because like I don't know, like I'm going to definitely buy it when it comes out just to support it. But I don't know if I'll like actually like get into the game. Mostly because like obviously I want to go in order, so and I'm super off like because I have 4 and I have 5, but I barely even played any of them. So like I just want to do it my way.
Yeah, I get you. I was just curious if you were gonna finish Kiwami before Kiwami 2 came out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. But yeah, Yakuza 6, great video game, I would say. Ni no Kuni 2, I made some progress in. I got to the first like kind of RTS weird battle, which is less like RTS than I thought it would be. It's basically like these big kind of siege battles that happen on the world map, which are they're cool and they played out differently than I thought. You kind of have these units that you have hero units that attract other kind of different kind of small units around them. They create, it's kind of like Pikmin, weirdly enough. Like they create like a little swarm of like, here's bow units around this one character and here's sword units around this one character. And it brings in like the very Fire Emblem like weapon triangle. It's like, okay, I can send this swarm of sword units up against a swarm of axe units and it'll have an advantage, for example. But it's just like the first one of those kind of like world map based battles, and I'm about to start like the kingdom building stuff where you start building your kingdom and setting up your metagame, which I'm like super ready for after playing XCOM and XCOM 2, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm about 6 or so hours into that game. It is just like, it is literally everything I wanted out of a JRPG right now, and it is like flipping every switch and touching every button. Like it is exactly what I wanted from Ni no Kuni 2. It's exactly what I want from a JRPG right now. And it also like runs great, looks great, feels great, plays great. It is everything to the max. So I'm having a great time with it. And I actually got to sit down and play Sea of Thieves with my boy Nato Johnston, also known as That Boy. And we had like an emergent, and Nato just appeared in our live chat too. It was like perfect timing. We had like a legitimate emergent gameplay moment. So we were like going on this quest because he's like level 27 or whatever. He's probably higher than that now. Where I'm like, I've played 40 minutes of this game. So he got like a high level quest. So it's like, let's go hunt some ghost pirates, right? Because there's only 3 things to do in that game. He showed me more things to do in that game, which I appreciate. It's like, let's go hunt some like legendary ghost pirates. So we went and hunted like 4 of them. It was like a 3-part mission. You did 2 for the first part, 2 again for the second part, and we were on our way to the 3rd part, where it was like the last 2 pirates we had to hunt, and they're just skeletons or whatever. On our way there, we saw some birds flying over a spot in the ocean. He's like, oh wait, drop the anchor, and then we jumped in the ocean and we found a shipwreck in the ocean, which was really cool. We found some like rare treasure there. So then we looted that. We had to fight off some sharks. We sail to this next island to get these last things. And just as we lay anchor and get on land, he turns around and he's like, oh, we got to get back to the ship. Somebody's attacking our ship. And we turn around and there's another boat like away off the coast shooting cannonballs at our parked ship. And it's like, oh, fuck. By the time we got back to it, our ship was sunk. And all of our loot that we had spent like 40 minutes getting was all like rising to the surface. And it was like, fuck. So we spent the next hour chasing these people down from like, and they were like sailing from like haven to haven to drop off all the loot that they stole from us. So we spent the hour just chasing this boat, trying to like, I was like, NATO was driving, I was shooting with like a sniper rifle, trying to hit them on their boat. And they would like do a loop around an island, and like one person would drive their ship around the island, the other would take one piece of our loot and take it and drop it off on the island. So they were like slowly cashing in all of our stuff. And eventually, after like they had cashed in all of our loot, so we were pissed about that, but eventually we caught up with them, and I started driving and NATO started shooting, and he landed these 4 perfect cannonballs on their ship, and then we crashed our ship into theirs, and NATO jumped on board and killed both of them, and then we sank their ship. And it was actually like a great series of events that was also like kind of shitty because we spent 40 minutes doing all this stuff, and then some fucking assholes just rolled up and sank our ship and took all of our loot and ran off with it, which is what pirates do, but it just seemed really mean. But as far as like a good, like genuine first experience with that game, it was pretty good. It was indicative of how crazy that game could get. I still have not been able to sit down and play with 4 people, and I'd very much like to do that, because I haven't even seen what it's like to be on the bigger ship. But that is my Sea of Thieves story, and I'm sure NATO will corroborate me. But it was fun. It's always fun playing games with NATO. He's just such a sweetheart. So we had a good time. That game might be all right. Finding like the sunken ship and like going into it underwater and then seeing the sharks and getting all scared and whatnot, like that was a really cool thing that I didn't know you could do, and it turned out to be really cool. So
you still plan on coming back to the game?
What,
like
Thieves?
Yeah, just like,
yeah, I definitely want to play it. Like I said, I haven't seen like the bigger ship or sailed with 3 people.
Yeah, I meant like, would you like play more by yourself, or would you only like?
I would play more by myself.
Yeah, like would it be just like, hey, whenever the moon is red or whatever, and like everyone's online, it's like, hey, let's jump in. That's probably the only time you play it.
I think so. Like I think that is a game that I would like make a game date with. Like I kind of like A Way Out, where it's like required to play with someone else. I would want to play with someone else.
Yeah, it seems like that. It's like one of those things where, even though there is stuff in the game, like it's not that much, but there is stuff in that game. Like it's more like the stuff that you do with your friends is what you get the most out of that game, more than like what the game has offered for you.
Yeah, like the turns that I was making and the shots that NATO took with the cannonballs, like those were moments that were like super satisfying and super great, and it was like those emergent cooperative moments that like that you kind of go to games for. It seems like a really great vehicle for doing fun things with your friends, and like, you know, hunting treasure and looking at treasure maps and whatnot. It was really cool. And NATO is a great captain. I'll say that as much too. So, and like I said when I talked about the beta, kind of like when you're in sync, and like he doesn't even have to tell me to like go and adjust the sail or like turn the ship this way or fire the cannonball at that time, and we're just like doing what we need to do as far as like running the ship or like finding loot. Like those moments where you're like just in sync and working together are really, really fun and really satisfying. So,
as far as in sync, what would NATO be? What would you be?
I would be the guy that is
Joey Fatone?
No.
It's Bass?
No. I'd be Chip Skylark.
Oh, Chris something. I can't remember his last name. Chris
Chestertag or whatever. And NATO would be Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Easily. So, because he like has the breakout career afterward.
But what about the other lead singer guy?
Yeah,
like TJ or TG or like I can't remember his name.
You can't even say what his name is. No, that's
he's just as important in sync.
Yeah, but like he doesn't have the breakout solo career.
He had a solo career.
Chris Kirkpatrick is Chip Skylark.
He had a solo career that was big as.
Not as big. I'm saying like NATO would make it big.
Okay.
And JC Chase.
JC, that's what it is.
I'm saying I would like be totally fine playing like a small role, or Chazes. She corrected. I'd be totally fine playing a small role in an animated series, and like also having the voice of an angel, like Chris Kirkpatrick does. He's got an incredible voice. Shiny teeth, shiny teeth, shiny teeth. And NATO, he's just gonna be big. He's gonna be a star. But yeah, that is who we are in the NSYNC lore. But yeah, Sea of Thieves is all right. I think there are totally fair criticisms for that game, but just like every game that has plenty of fair criticisms lodged against it, a la Destiny 2 or A Way Out or things like that, I think regardless, it can be a great vehicle for having a lot of fun with friends.
Yeah. I've always said, like, you can make any game fun as long as you have all your friends with them. Exactly. And, like, in like, a game that, like, you know, is made for that way, which is what Destiny 2 is, which is what Sea of Thieves is, like, it's made for that. So it's like, kind of like, how can you criticize something where it's like all it is depending about, like, you know, like it's one of those type of things.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, I've been on such a co-op kick ever since The Taken King came out. Like, it has really changed my perspective on playing games with friends. And since then, like, I've had such a better appreciation for those kinds of, like, the way a game sets you up for success with friends is really important. And if a game does it well, it shows. And if it does it poorly, it also shows. Mm-hmm. The games I've been playing this week all have done it very well. So
yeah, because, you know, like, people like me could, like, say, like, oh, whatever, Sea of Thieves doesn't have much of anything but that, but who the fuck am I? You know, like, because, like, I'm playing by myself, and it's like, I'm judging you because the game doesn't have content, but, like, you're having so much fun with, like, with little stuff that you have, and it's like I said, who am I to even judge that?
Yeah.
How much fun somebody to have. Like, that experience you had with Nail could be, like, your highlight of the year. Yeah, and exactly. and I could say, like, oh, I really enjoyed something like A Way Out, or not A Way Out, something like Dragon Ball FighterZ by myself, but I wouldn't have that experience of what you just had or something like that. So, you know.
And it's cool that you know, I've learned to kind of grow into how those experiences differentiate themselves. And, like, even though at the end of the day, like, I'm in the same boat as you, Nabashin, like, the most fun I typically have with games are solo experiences. Like the Ni no Kuni 2s and the Yakuza 6s are delivering on the things that I want games to deliver on. I'm just, like, appreciating those other cooperative experiences a lot more now. So,
for sure.
So, best of both worlds. I'm lucky that I can say that I'm having the best of both worlds too. So, that was a lot, and I know it was a lot, but that's all I've been playing. I want to know about what you've been playing, Option.
Well, it's pretty much just the same shit.
There's new shit in here.
Sure.
Yes, I have a lot of questions about one of these new things. So
yeah, it's playing mostly just the same stuff. A little bit more Asura's Wrath. I did all of part 2. Did all online.
What is part 2? Like, what's that encompass?
Part 2 is pretty much where you meet the girl who looks like Mithra.
Yeah.
And, like, it's you're fighting August, and at the end of it, that thing happens with that girl, and then, like, you do that whole, like, I guess you would say Naruto Kyuubi thing, where it's, like, almost like the Ninetales Fox with Asura.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then, like, after that, that's where that ends off, as soon as you get that your rage moment.
That game is something special. Yeah. There's really not been a game like Asura's Wrath.
Yeah, like it's like in a year of bad games, like this is like even though this game's like fucking like 20 years old or whatever, it's not. I'm just saying, like it's
12 or whatever.
Yeah, like it's like my favorite dad game. Like I just love like how much he cares about his daughter, and like even like the girl who looks like Mithra is like he gives so much of a shit about her. And tries everything he can. Even at the point where he has no arms, like he still tries to do what he can just to like protect her and stuff like that. It's just
he dies like 12 times in that game, right?
He dies like 12 times, and every time he dies is like 12,000 years later.
Yeah,
like I will buy like 100 years, but it's 12,000 years later, and like everyone's still pretty much the same, but whatever.
It's like, why have a time jump at all?
Exactly.
It's gonna be the same. But it's another layer to that game that just makes it incredible.
Yeah.
Man, shit. While it's not my favorite dad game, it's definitely up there.
Yeah. Like it's like that and The Last of Us and there's another one I was thinking of, but I can't think of right now. But like it's a really good dad game.
BioShock Infinite. Is that one of your favorite dad games? Awkward incestual dad games.
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah. It's definitely fits that niche pretty well.
Other than that, more Mass Effect 3. Finished all of the Leviathan DLC. That game's still good. Like I was remembering the thing with Mass Effect 3 is like I keep saying this to myself, like every time I play a Mass Effect game, like I always find something new that like I didn't know before or I didn't see before, or for whatever reason. Like even though I do the same things over and over again, I always find something new that like I didn't know about. Like going through the
boy.
Sorry, Scott.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Like going through the Omega DLC, like I found out like there's a scene where like Arya kisses you. I was like, I never knew that, and it's like, oh, I discovered it and I did it, and it's like, oh, that's funny, that's cool, that's a thing that happened, because like it's so awkward for both of them at the same time too. So it's like it's really great, but it's like you letting Arya do the thing that she actually really wanted to do, and like if you let that happen, like she just kisses you. I was like, oh wow, that's weird. And it's weird for both of them because like Shepard had this weird standing awkward moment. Arya's looking, her eyes are like twitching back and forth. So that was like a good moment.
Sounds like Mass Effect.
So it's Mass Effect too. It's great. But like I'm trying to do like the DLC stuff before I get to Stasia, which is like the low point of that game as far as like emotion stuff like that. You know, like that's the climactic point where your boy Kyling shows up again. I don't know.
Fuck, I forgot completely about Kyling.
I know you did. I keep meaning to bring him up again, and I keep forgetting to do that on the show.
I literally forgot he existed as a video game character. Oh my god, man. Okay, yeah, I'm back. Mass Effect 3. What a fucking video. What a ride.
But yeah, I found out something interesting about like Destiny 2. Like originally it's supposed to be like a Vermeer mission on that planet. That's it.
Rex?
No, it's the like someone has to die.
Okay.
Like you had to choose between someone, and like it was a cutscene because it was supposed to be like the survivor from Vermeer or Liara. So it was like that was the choice you're supposed to make.
Bye, Caden.
Exactly. It's like there's no real choice. Like there's no contest as that. Like even if it was like Ashley or Caden or whoever, it's just like Liara is so important. Like why would you sacrifice her? Like unless that was like your love interest or something like that. But like there's. Like, I didn't think the stakes were that equal for that. I guess that's why they cut it out, but whatever. But yeah, still trucking through that. I'm going through it slowly now, like weirdly enough. Maybe I think because I'm enjoying it too much, and it's like
it's got to end, and then you're gonna be sad. I'm so excited for you to get to the Citadel DLC though, because I know it's gonna be like all highs all the time.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm going to stop playing at. Like I'll beat the game again, and then like after that I'll reload it again and just go to play the Citadel DLC just because I like that so much. And it also been fun to like I reacquaint myself with Ashley or Thane or something like that, and like then it's like, oh, I just want to see their romance. I just want to see how that plays out. So I go on YouTube and see like the through line through Dane's entire romance. It's like, oh, that's so sweet and stuff like that. So it's all good stuff.
I feel like they did of the Mass Effect 2 only romances. I feel like Thane's was done the best.
Of only the Mass Effect 2?
Of like the Mass Effect 2 only romances.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Because like.
What, you mean like starting from Mass Effect 2?
Yeah, so like starting and then kind of like getting closed out in Mass Effect 3. So like
So you mean like Thane, Jacob, and Miranda, and Jack. Okay.
Miranda, like I feel like Thane's was handled the best.
I would probably say Jack,
Okay.
personally.
I
did Jacob's mission too. God, he's horrible. He is so bad. He is so horrible.
Man, just fucking ditched you.
It drives me crazy, dude. It drives me crazy for so many reasons. Because like, A, it was only 6 months. 2, like you were in jail for the reasons that he knew. It's not like you just disappeared or something like that. So it's like you turned yourself in. The whole Cerberus thing is like whatever. He impregnates the new girl you're with. If you're femshep and like you confront that girl, she like gets in your face about it. It's like, well, Big Jacob's my man, so like, back off or whatever. And then Jacob's like, sorry, like I thought I learned from my father, but I guess I did, or whatever.
And it's also like I'm not here trying to make it about race, but Jacob's like one of the few like black male standalone characters. Like, he knocked somebody else and ditched you up for this. Yeah. So it's like.
It totally, dude.
Why you got to do it like that, man?
And this is BioWare too, so it's like that's like even the more weirder thing is like I can see that being something like like a relationship not working out, and it's like it just turns that way because that's life and whatever. But it had to be Jacob,
right? This Kanye West looking motherfucker.
Like there's more reason to hate him, on every aspect of it. Like he is literally like the worst Mass Effect character, and that's a shame.
And it sucks because I feel like Jacob is written well, and he's like, especially in Mass Effect 2, there are times when he's like a really interesting character, and it just like all gets ruined so quickly. But I do love to hate Jacob, so like
that's the thing too.
There's like a benefit to it, so yeah, you get it.
Yeah, and like going through this game again, I really, I'm appreciating Vega a lot more. James Vega, like he's just
great, man.
Yeah, he's a cool character, and just like he's a cool guy. Yeah, like whatever, man. Like Mass Effect 3 is great. I love that
game. I know, man. I'm here for it. I'm reliving it through you. So I don't spend another fucking 70 hours replaying video games this year. Like I did with Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, so yeah, that's good. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to get to Citadel. Man, thinking about like the Citadel era of Irrational Passions, like remember the Citadel episode of Irrational Passions?
Oh, podcast? Dude, I remember. I bought that game.
You bought that game for us, for Tony and I, pretty much.
I did that, and I bought I bought an extra one. I gave it away on the show too. Yeah. Like I want everybody to play it. I'm so enthusiastic about it. I still love it. Like and like I said, I haven't played it in years. So like just going back to it again. Like one of my favorite. It was my game of the year that year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
What else you been playing?
Dragon Ball FighterZ Z. I went back to that.
New characters.
Yeah. I actually never went away because like I got into watching like a YouTuber called Maximilian Dude, and he puts his highlight videos on YouTube of just like playing that game, and I haven't played it like actively myself, but I watch that's my new PUBG basically, just watching him play Dragon Ball FighterZ Z, because he's really good. He's like a high level player and stuff like that, and I just like seeing him just like get his combos down and analyzing how Brawly and Bardock are. Like Brawly, like when he first showed up, he's like this big massive character and stuff like that. So it's like you would think he would be like obviously he'll have super strong moves and stuff like that, and he's limited as far as his movement, but you find out he's technically he's not all that deep as far as the character at first, but then you can see if you get your opponent in the corner or do certain matchups with him, he's a force to be reckoned with, but he can take down a health bar by himself more or less if you do it the right way. Yeah, it's really interesting stuff, and Bardock is just fucking insane as a character. He's any combinations of combos work for him. So Like he's like really like accessible. He like almost to the level of Goku as far as like accessible in that game. So like this really cool shit. Like yeah, I've just been re-loving that game again. Like it's still so good. Um yeah, I can't speak any higher of that game more than I already have. Like the game's real good.
That's good. Do we know who the next characters are gonna be?
Not yet. There've been rumors.
Goku.
Yeah, there's been rumors of regular Goku, regular Vegeta, but like yeah, we'll see if that actually is the case. It probably is, honestly, but like we'll see.
Yeah. Those feel like characters that should be free. I'm just gonna put that out there, but
they seem like characters that shouldn't be in the game, but that's just me. Like
yeah, exactly.
Give it to these other characters. Like Jiren would be the obvious choice, but like like give it to Caligula and like all these other ones.
Ginyu, man, just get Ginyu and Raccoon in there.
Ginyu is in the game.
Oh, okay. Let's get Raccoon in there. I know, like he shows up in Ginyu's attacks.
Yeah, there you go.
I forgot about the whole Ginyu different like ability move stuff, but I just want Raccoon hanging out with his Raccoon beam or whatever the fuck he calls it.
Sure.
I like how, I'll say this just to give a little bit of an explanation. I like how Raccoon looks a lot. I like his character design a lot. I don't know why. I always have, but that's just where I'm at. And I also really like the name Raccoon.
It rhymes with Doom.
Exactly. Raccoon rhymes with Doom for a reason, motherfuckers.
My name is Raccoon. It rhymes with Doom, and you'll be hurting all too soon.
Exactly.
That's a line from the dub from super long time ago.
Beautiful. Brings a tear to my eye. Let's do you want to talk about this you got two big ones here.
Yeah, I want to talk about Burnout Paradise remastered.
Did you play the original Burnout Paradise?
I did. I platinumed the game. That was my second platinum.
Wow. OG of your like 3,000 platinum trophies, so that's a big deal.
No, it's like almost 60.
Oh, NBD. Let me just brush my shoulders real quick.
But yeah, it's great going back to that game. Like crazy great because like it's so nostalgic. Like it makes me nostalgic for like PS3 games. Honestly, like playing that game again. Because like Burnout Paradise was like the game where it's like where I like around the time when I played Burnout Paradise is when I found out about podcasts and shit like that. So like I remember listening to like stuff like probably like PS Nation around that time. Like listening to that while I'm like playing that game, and that it was like PS Nation and DLB Network. Those are the two podcasts I was listening to at the time. Just like listening to podcasts and just like racing just like constantly. Like it's just a good game just to play and like not pay attention to like anything else. Just like your perfect distraction game. Like yeah, it's just great. It looks great. 4K HDR. No, not HDR. 4K, but like looks great. But you know, it's still like a PS3 game, so like
still you can kind of tell some of those polygons, some of those textures look a little.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still fun. It's still a great loop. It's still really great and still super fun.
Would I like Burnout Paradise?
I think you would. Honestly,
I never played a Burnout game, which
like,
seems like a crying shame. I know.
It's a different type of game. It's a different type of Burnout game. Like it's the only Burnout game I've really ever played. I've never played like Burnout 3, which is like the game that everyone else is like, why do Paradise get Burnout 3 out there? I think you would, honestly. That's like the game that, especially at the time, and like I would even say now, it's like it's a game that's like just like when someone gets like a console, like that's just the game to recommend, just to, like have fun with, because like it's just like a buttload of content. It's just like you listen to like their soundtrack or you just listen to your own music. It's a good time waster, and it's like just fun just playing through that game, just running around and stuff like that. Cause like it's nothing like really. There's like it's not like there's people on the road. It's like literally just cars and road and just jumps and billboards and fences that you smash through, and that's like literally all that game is. But like it's just fun for what that is. It's like like I've been meaning to like hear Jeff's impressions about it, cause like Jeff Gerstmann, I should say, because that was the game that was the game for him. Like when he got fired from GameSpot, and like eventually started Giant Bomb, and like that was his game. And like I've been look through the podcast and like to see his impressions about it, because I know he's loving it right now. Even now, just like doing the remasters of it. Yeah, like it's great. It's a great thing. Like that's a game I could recommend to like almost anybody. And like as far as like some people who've like gotten to it now, like I listen to like the CAGcast, and like they feel like like after like something like Forza Horizon 3, like Burnout isn't probably necessary anymore, which is probably true, because like I haven't played Burnout, because like that they said like Forza Horizon 3 is like probably like the evolution of what Burnout Paradise is. So like I've always been wanting to get into the Horizon games, and like I feel like maybe like if I ever do, like Forza Horizon 3 would be the one to do, because like I'm really enjoying Burnout again, so like I think like I'll eventually get that game. So like, and that game looks great, so something I'll eventually do.
Yeah, that it seems like that is kind of the series that picked up where Burnout Paradise left off, by all accounts. Yeah, it seems cool. It's like I like the idea of an open world racing game, and I like the idea of one that doesn't take itself too seriously. That feels fast too, right? Like that. Burnout Paradise is just how fast everything feels.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, it's an EA game, so I will say like wait till like it's probably like $10-20.
$2 next
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like just wait for that, and then like just get around in and like just enjoy it. It's just fun. Just like a good time waster. Like if you're backed up on podcasts, like I know I am, like that's a good thing to play while you're doing that. So
it's funny. It's like I'm caught up for the first time, maybe ever. First time in like the last 2 years. So maybe I hear it's got a good soundtrack too. So yeah, there's always been like this kind of morbid curiosity with Burnout Paradise, because Jeff Gerstmann specifically speaks so highly of it, understandably so. All right, let's talk about Far Cry 5.
Okay.
You seem pretty down on Far Cry 5.
I'm not necessarily down on it. It's a great game. It's fun. I love playing it. It's super great. Even more so than like around about the same amount that I felt about Far Cry 4. As far as like playing it and enjoying it and the loop of it being so much fun and stuff like that. I'm really, really enjoying it because of that. I my frustration with it, really, not to the same extent of like some of the reviews out there, but like is more of like there's nothing to really give a shit about while you're playing. Like the story is there and it's presented well, but there's nothing really to grasp onto it, I feel. Like this, like I think this is like the most egregious one out of like the Far Cry games that I've played, and like seeing how good it is now, as far as like how good and accessible it is as far as playing, because I've always enjoyed playing the Far Cry games, even though like I'm not great at first person shooters. They've always been fun, and that's my most attractive part of me going to those games. Like it looks good, it plays good. Like everything about it is so great, and like it should be. I feel like it should be more of a tentpole game. It should be a game up in the of the higher tier video games that we talk about, as far as like game of the year and like a Zelda Breath of the Wild or a Last of Us or something like that. Something that high. It feels like it should be one of those games, but like I feel like where it is as far as like how it presents itself, as far as like something as far as like a video game to play and like getting to, I think it falls behind that, because like not to say like it needs to like say something or mean or be anything about anything. Like I just feel like it's something that should have a good story. Like I feel like there's no reason it shouldn't have a good story at all, because like this game obviously doesn't try to be that, even though like it kind of presented itself like to be something like that. Not to be like 'cause, like I've said obviously like a bunch of times, like it won't be whatever everybody wants it to be as far as like story wise. Like I feel like like as far as like what it was presenting itself like a year ago or whatever, how long ago it was.
Announced, yeah.
Yes. Like I think it was presenting itself like we're finally going to do a story in this game as far as like something that you can actually give somewhat of a shit about. Yeah. And like I said, like where I felt like whatever story that was going to be, I felt it was going to be poorly done as far as like presenting and stuff like that. But like even the story that's in this game now, I felt like it's still not even trying to be even like something remotely like a good story. And the big thing I said, like I feel like this is the inverse of like Mafia 3.
Yeah, because like, it plays really well, but the story's shit.
Yeah. Yes. More. Yes. like because Mafia 3 is so good of a story as far as like how it presents itself, how it shows itself, how the atmosphere is in that game. As far as like being a black man in like the 1960s or whatever, and like being the person in that game, like one of the standout moments for me in like Mafia 3 was like Nolan North being in that game and like him saying like the N-word in that game, like because that was like fucking terrifying how he presented that, but like it was in such a good way too, because like it's so well acted and so well presented, and it's like yes, I feel it, I feel it being in this game, but like playing that game is like just the most boring, tedious, like this boring shit ever. And like, and I never beat that game because of that. It's like I have no interest to even go back to it. So like I just eventually just like watched all the cutscenes in YouTube and like got my story fill from that, and like it was a great story because of that. Like I say, it's like is a revenge tale. It's like him pretty much being like an angry man, being like a Black Kratos or whatever. But like
put that on the back of the box, Black Kratos.
Or actually Kratos, because all his voice actors were black. But anyway,
yeah.
But I feel like that game was at least aspiring to be something like you could tell
something, you know?
Yeah, and you could tell like they actually got like a writer, someone who like wanted to like say something with the game, even if the game doesn't really represent or can like go to the lengths of what that game was trying to be or what the story was trying to be. Like you could tell it was trying to reach it, and like if the gameplay was there, like that game would be in the top tier. It would be like a Last of Us or whatever, as far as like what people would talk about with that game. And I feel like Far Cry mechanically is there because like it's so open and it's so freeing to play the game as far as like doing what you want and what you want to do in that game. And it's so fun at doing that, but like there's nothing to be there. There's nothing to grab onto. Like even like your character yourself, like they just gave up as far as like being like an actual person. You're just an avatar now. You can be a male or female, which is great. You have a little character creator, which is great, but you don't see yourself. Excuse me. You don't really see yourself in that game, and it's like it doesn't really matter. Because like there's never like a he or she exchange or something like that. You just call you Rookie or Rook or whatever, and it's like you just go through the game, just do whatever you are in that game. So you're just an avatar in this world, just doing stuff. But like
does your character talk like in the other Far Cry games?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. I just want to make sure.
I mean, I'm just bitching for bitching's sake, because like as much as me complaining about like Far Cry, like you know, I'll beat that game because I enjoy playing it. But like I got to the point now where I pretty much skip all the cutscenes other than like they're really like presented, you know, like you should pay attention to this shit. Because like another big thing about this is like what I feel is like anything like as far as like even in the story, even story missions, it's like there's nothing in the story mission that is as good as like you just like randomly just going out in the world. And that's another problem with Far Cry games, I feel. Because like there's no like there are set piece moments, but like the set pieces that you can make for yourself. And like this, the way you play that game is like that's like those are the highlights of the game. Not really what the game wants you to see, but like the games but what the game presents is what really makes that game shine. So
yeah, it's
yeah.
I understand. Like I don't think it's bitching or anything. I think it's fair criticism, because you know like there is definitely a perception the way that game was presented It's like there was a pivot, like a strong pivot on that game internally. And it's hard to know whether or not there was, but like there was this whole kind of idea or perception like, oh, like this is a game where you're fighting back against like white supremacy. And it's likely that was never really the case, but Ubisoft never tried to steer the conversation away from that. So they're maybe at fault for kind of letting that idea get out of control. And it's just like that coinciding with her. That and like how fucking stone cold serious they were when they announced the game. They were like, this game is serious shit. And it was just like, it ended up, like there's this, I was watching the Giant Bomb quick look of it, and they do a mission where like some millennial like dude over the intercom is telling you to go destroy these crates, and he's like, they're green crates, but not like kale green, like avocado green. And it's like, what the fuck is this game? Like, who wrote this? And you compare that to like when you see that like announcement trailer or like the announcement event around it. It's very grim, and you have this key art of like these white people holding guns around this like religious setting table, and it's like it just feels so juxtaposed. Like it feels so to the opposite of what maybe they were originally going for. It just seems ridiculous, honestly.
Like my for my side of it, it's more of like it's more of like it. That's almost irrelevant as far as like It's more of like I'm frustrated with this game that is not more than what it is. Not as far as like I said, I feel this game. I feel like the Far Cry games in general, just because like how good they play, like the way people talk about like fucking GTA or something like that. Like it should be more about that, because people who like GTA games like give a fuck about the story. It's like no, GTA is a bad example. All right, not GTA.
Yeah,
but like
people really care about those stories.
Yeah, GTA is a bad example. I feel like it's like it feels like what like Wolfenstein 2. How about that?
Okay.
That's a better example. I feel like it should be something like that, and people like because people like praise that game as far as like that's exactly what it should be. It should be like a Wolfenstein 2. I feel, at least it should be something where it has something to it, and it's more than what it is.
Even while also being over the top and ridiculous.
Yeah, cause I think that game, like for me personally at least, I think it meshes that well, and I feel like it has its cake and it can eat it too, as far as like being over the top, having the openness that you want it to have. Oh, that's okay. But I feel like Far Cry. I think like Far Cry should
want
do
it
that.
to have, but
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the big thing with being over the top. Being over the top only works when you have. Okay, so being over the top only works when, if you scale it down to what you would normally see, would also work.
Yeah, I think there's a way to make it emergent. I think like you were saying, like Far Cry's best moments, emergent, as in like it emerges itself naturally.
Okay.
Like Far Cry's best moments are when you're just like running around the world and crazy stuff is happening. And I think like Wolfenstein does that really well scripted, right?
Yeah.
And Far Cry does it really well unscripted. There's got to be like a way to meet it in the middle.
I guess what I'm really trying to say is like if it's like at this point, like just don't have a story in Far Cry at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like have like don't like it's so hard to put into words.
Well, that's the big problem. It's when you get rid of the story, then the over the top stops working.
Yeah,
it's they have to do Wolfenstein good with the story.
Yeah, and like I agree.
As well as leave it open. They don't have to have it so tight as Wolfenstein, but it has to be, I want to say, at least that good.
Like I think Wolfenstein 2 does that really well too. Like I don't, even as like a person who doesn't love Wolfenstein 2, like I think it does what it wants to do well. I think there's a way where Far Cry can have a good story. Like, where would you say? Like, what would you say about Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4 story as far as like they're over the top and ridiculous as well?
Because it's interesting. Like Far Cry 3, especially like I think that story works for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like you're just a bunch of assholes, like getting trapped on an island, and you're this guy named Jason. I think his name is Jason or whatever, and you're trying to go stay your friends, and then like that's I think that's the perfect like amount of like dumb that really fits to that game. I guess that's why I'm really more fond of like Far Cry 3 than I am in the of 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just feel like that game more encapsulates what Far Cry is as far as like the ridiculousness and as far as yes, I think that's more balanced. Well, Far Cry 4, it got a little more serious with it, and like it got more to the point where it's like you have to pick between like either like going like the generic the standard route as far as like I can't remember how that game went actually, but it's like it's either like fall tradition or like get modern with far as like the people that you were helping. So like and they're both like shitty outcomes too. Like it's either like go tradition and like pretty much like have like child labor and shit like that, or go or be more modern and like get involved with like bringing drugs into your village or whatever. And both were bad options, both were stupid, and and like I don't know, like yeah, I think this like I guess like this fit more to what your game is. I guess it's more of what I'm trying to say is.
Yeah. I see why you're conflicted on it too.
Yeah, it's so hard to convey what I'm feeling about this game, obviously, but like I said, I'll still play through it. I still enjoy playing it immensely. It's so much fun to play.
My question for you is, like, I have a big hankering to play a Far Cry game, but just going off of what I've heard, like, it seems like maybe Far Cry 5 isn't the best one to play. I've been thinking about, like, honestly going and playing Far Cry 4.
I think you will enjoy 4 a lot. Mm-hmm. I loved 4.
I'll say this, like, when I heard, because Jeff talked about it on the Bombcast this week, when I heard that, like, you don't get, like, upgraded wallets and stuff from skinning animals, like, that really bummed me out.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, that's still in 4, and it seems like that kind of crafting component is still a big part of 4, whereas, like, 5 kind of streamlines that out of the game, and that sounds like kind of a bummer. What would you say go back and play 4?
4 definitely.
Okay. Because the only bummer part of that is like apparently 5 just looks very good. And how does 5 look on your?
5 looks fucking great. Yeah. It's 4K HDR. Yeah. It's all the trimmings, dude. I love the way that game looks.
It's got a really good map. I'll say that. I was looking at the map, the in-game map. I love like fully rendered, like in-game rendered in-game maps.
Mm-hmm.
Way into it. Like Skyrim's map, still one of my favorite maps in a video game. Because I'm weird, and there's a podcast coming out soon where you get to hear me talk about how much I love maps. But that's an aside. And also, there's the Far Cry 3 remaster coming out. I kind of want to play that.
Yeah, I kind of do too.
That might be the one to play. So mentioned that in our live chat. So
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from with it. I'm glad that you were able to talk about it. I hope this was more cathartic than frustrating.
I mean, I've said it more. I think I spelled it out more better than on Twitter than I said it on here. But but like I said, Witcher 3 ruined me for fucking everything. So whatever.
Yeah, Witcher 3 ruined everything.
Yeah, like I said, that's a very vastly open world game, and
that's also highly polished and really good.
Yeah. You have your story and you have your open world. That's what I mean as far as like a game like that.
Yeah, that's a game that has its cake and eats it too. It's very true. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got a couple of news stories to hit, take a question, make some bets, throw it out. So we will be back in just a little bit.
Choo choo choo.
Does anybody need to use the restroom? Take a siesta? Go on. I missed that fucking amiibo also. I was late. I was like
really
10 minutes late to it.
Damn, dude.
Because like I saw it when I went on my break, like 15 minutes after. Not that I would have wanted to pay GameStop's bullshit fucking shipping.
Nope, fuck that.
Getting that fucking Solaire amiibo. I'm gonna praise the sun all day, Scott.
I mean, like, you don't need the amiibo to praise the sun. Just raise your arms, dude.
I want to do both. I wonder if they'll have the amiibo on display at PAX.
Power on.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You know what? I would actually will use the bathroom. I'll go.
Yeah, I will too. I'll get it out of my system. All right. Everybody back?
I never left.
Oh.
I was just sad. Just sat here. Oh, everybody left me.
I'm sorry, Scott. I'm back now. Option sounds like he's almost back.
You know what it's time to do.
Time for news.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Nicole says she has 66 platinums, or she's working on her 66 platinum. Seems like some crazy shit.
Yeah.
What was your first platinum option?
Uncharted.
Uncharted 1.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to be my first too, but then I fucking gave up on the hardest mode because I lost my save. My PS3 yellow lighted. And I was like, you have to play through all of like this super. You have to play through hard mode and then super hard mode. And I was like, nope. Screamed enough on that fucking final boss. And oh, she says it's now 66. What was your 66? What did you just get, Nicole?
Transistor she's playing through right now, so it's probably that.
Oh, true. Shit. I wonder if that's a hard platinum.
I really want Asura's Wrath to be my 60th platinum, so that's what I've been working on that for so long.
If only it was your 69th platinum.
Yeah, I'm on 59 right now, so I want to like see it forever on the corner of PSN profile, so I'll be proud of it. God damn it.
I have 11. I might have 12 now. So I feel good about that. That's a strong number.
You know, I need to go. See, I need to. I forgot Farewell came out for Before the Storm. I need to play that. I just remember
Yeah,
that.
I've heard some things, man. Logan was like, I cried after playing that. I'm like, fuck. Should I play this? I don't know. And he didn't like
Before the Storm. Yeah.
Yeah, so. But he really liked Farewell. And that's like the original voice actors came back for that. Right?
Yeah. You ever gonna play
I'm going to play it at some point. I still have the first episode.
Okay. Did you ever play it?
I haven't. I haven't played any of it.
That's your homework.
Yeah, there's my homework. That and
at least the first episode, because like the first episode has a really good moment.
Okay. I gotta get through Yakuza first. I might end up getting God of War as well. We'll see. We'll see if they send that to me.
I did the first 20% thing. Honestly, I did that. I got burnout with that 20% thing, and I got the new one for this month. So I'm saving that for God of War. So I'll be able to get that digitally. I'm happy.
Yeah, it's a good deal. All right, let's do this. News in gaming. Let's talk about some news. They're remastering Red Faction Guerrilla. The only reason that's newsworthy is because they're calling that a remaster because it takes place on Mars. I still think that's really funny. I want to see the logo for that, actually, while we're talking about remastered Red Faction Guerrilla. Did you ever play Red Faction Guerrilla, Namashin?
A little bit of it when everyone was talking about it. I redboxed it, but I didn't really like funny enough, like the thing that turned me off about really getting into it is people kept telling me to play it on easy to have fun with it, and I was like, no, the game's on normal, baby. So yeah.
Another of the THQ Nordic poorly named remaster edition situations. That's cool. Red Faction is another one of those franchises that kind of like disappeared. So I'm glad it is coming back. We talked about Sea of Thieves earlier. It is now Microsoft's fastest selling new IP on Xbox One, or this generation, you could say. Which I would say is not surprising because they haven't put a lot of new IP this generation. I would say Quantum Break was 2014, right? So that was still pretty early on.
Is that 14 or 15?
It might have been 2015. Since the S has come out since then, and the Xbox One X has come out since then, they have a much bigger install base. So there are more consoles out there, so it's not surprising that their new exclusive games are selling more. So I would say I'm not surprised.
So it's the fastest selling? Is it what you're saying?
Fastest selling new IP this generation on Xbox One.
Okay.
So it hit over 1 million in its first 48 hours, which is really good. But
does that count the Game Pass? Or?
I don't believe it counts Game Pass. So now it's apparently hit over 2 million players. So that might count Game Pass. But
yeah, if the player count is that, then
it's hard to know. I know sales is a portion of it, so but I'm not surprised,
Yeah, I'm not surprised either.
Big multiplayer game, it's a rare game. Obviously there's a lot of push behind it, and we're late enough into the Xbox life cycle. And there haven't been a lot of new IPs. The other big Xbox games have been Halo 5.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, but again, that was a launch game, so
yeah.
or close to it at least. But Gears of War 4, Halo 5, those aren't new IP, so, and they obviously sold really well. So I think it's cool. I'm excited for Sea of Thieves because I feel, like I said last week, I feel like they have a good structure to update and add to that game with new stuff on a near constant basis, and I think they're going to. They're already talking about changing priorities based on player feedback on what their next big updates are going to be. Initially they were going to apparently make more consequences for player death, and they're like, what if we didn't do that? Fans were like that, which makes sense because it's really easy to die in that game. And it's not, it would be super a bummer if the first thing they added to that game was consequences for player death.
Did you hear the guy who was the first pirate legend?
No.
Yeah, that just happened in what was it? he became the pirate legend, and you're supposed to get like exclusive stuff for being like in at that rank. But like he did it so fast, there wasn't really anything for him yet.
So they're like working on stuff for him.
Yeah, they're working on stuff for him, and yeah, obviously like a lot of people will get there eventually. But like you know he Twitch streamed and then like had his fans like help him get his faction ranking up so he could be that be the first one to be at that rank. But like he doesn't get his exclusive boat or anything yet. So that's video
that's
games.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm excited for the future of that game. Where it's at now is a little rocky, that's for sure. But I would say that, like I said with my story earlier, there's still plenty of fun to be had there. In other news, Dying Light, a game I never thought I might talk about again unless we talked about a sequel of it. It got a new update this last week. Adding a battle royale mode, which is just super weird. Everything about it is crazy. It's called Bad Blood. I don't know how many players it is. I'm trying to figure that out. I was watching a video of it earlier. I think it's like.
Do they have a trailer of it?
I watched gameplay of it. I didn't watch the trailer of it.
Does it have Taylor Swift's song?
Bad Blood in it? Probably not. I doubt they would pay.
Then they fucked it up.
they fucked it up. True. You're not wrong. To be fair, that song's not great. So.
It's true.
All I think about when I think of that song is the Game Grumps mockingly singing it. That's very true. But yeah, it's been like, this game came out in 2015. It's been years since like the big DLC came out for it in 2016. Yeah, they just kind of dropped it out of nowhere. So basically, multiple players drop into the city and have to collect certain like cures for the virus, while also having to fight off against zombies. It's 6 players. They're dropped on random locations on the map. They race to acquire the samples and fight. You have to basically kill the elite infected in order to get the samples. And then they have to kind of get to a specific point. So you're also fighting the other players and fighting the infected. It's a really cool idea. It's a very different take on Battle Royale. Obviously, it's a lot less players as well. There's never been a competitive multiplayer mode in Dying Light as far as I know as well, which makes this pretty unique. For the most part, it's just been the 4-player co-op that was built into the game.
Not even that last expansion that they had?
No, I don't think that added a competitive mode.
Okay.
If it did, I never played it. And that last expansion was very good. It was like another open world area, but it added like vehicles, and that was kind of the big aspect to it. But yeah, it's a really cool idea, and they just kind of added it out of nowhere, kind of once again extending the longevity of that game. I really want a Dying Light 2. That's all this got me thinking of, because like in my want to play Far Cry, I've been like, man, maybe I could just play Dying Light because I really like that game. So it's had me thinking about that game as well. But yeah, Dying Light shit's still going on with Dying Light, and I think that's cool. In other news, No Man's Sky, I guess, just to bring it up every now and again, out of the shadows. No Man's Sky is coming to Xbox One. Which it was kind of up in the air as to whether or not that could happen, because Sony kind of published the physical version of the game on PS4. But it is apparently being published by 505 Games on Xbox One, physically. It is also, to coincide with this Xbox One release date, is getting another major update. They've been adding pretty big updates recently. There's no details on what this next major update would be. They've been pretty hush-hush about it, which is probably for the better. But other things that they've added, basically the other 3 updates that they've released since No Man's Sky released initially in 2016 were Foundation, Pathfinder, and Atlas Rises, which will all be included with the Xbox One release from the get-go. And those have added like base building and vehicles, and like economy stuff to No Man's Sky that was not there before. So I don't know. I think it's really cool what they're doing with that game. It's kind of a bummer that it ended up coming out mostly in early access, it seems. But regardless, they have not given up on that game. Hello Games hasn't, and they've continued to try and make it a cooler and cooler game. It will be it'll have 4K and HDR support on Xbox One, which actually, because I've never bought No Man's Sky, it kind of makes me want to buy it when it comes out there and kind of see where it's at now. Especially if by the time this comes out this summer, I'll have a 4K TV and be able to see it in all of its glory. It's a very colorful game, so I imagine with HDR, it'll look pretty great. So yeah, they said it's coming out some point in 2018, not necessarily this summer. That was more of an assumption from me. We'll see. I don't know, it's cool. How do you feel about No Man's Sky, guys?
Never played it.
Would you ever play No Man's Sky at this point, Navashin?
Probably not. It's not my type of game.
Yeah. The Minecraft-esque kind of game.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my crafting laser.
Yeah, it wasn't when they first announced it and detailed it either. So I was like, I don't know if this is like my type, my jam. But I wouldn't mind seeing other people play it, and then like everything about that came out. So
yeah, sure. I don't know. It's still just a very odd game. That's all I pulled for news, though. Not a lot. I knew mostly we were going to be talking about video games this week. Unless you have any news now, Machine.
No, I didn't think I needed to get some.
No, you're good. I saw a child watching a Fortnite streamer on their phone today. And I was like, man, this is real. This is the world we live in, huh? But outside of that, that's it for news. We did get one question, though, from our good friend, Nicole Humphrey, at NMH2105 on Twitter. Since it's just one, I didn't boot up the music. But it was, first time going to PAX East. What do I need to know? I didn't know Nicole was going to be at PAX East.
Oh, shit.
Which is cool. Well, first, we're going to hang out, which is cool. What do you need to know going to PAX East? I'll say this. Shoes, yeah. It's always my first one. Like, bring good shoes or shoes that you've got broken in. So you're going to be walking and standing a lot. There's like a huge line to get into the convention floor. Like, people line up from like 5 a.m. and it's freezing because it's Boston. And like the line is legitimately 1.5 miles long. Like to the outside in to the point where it like starts is about 1.5 miles, I think. There's some good places to eat that are not too far that you should go to go eat. There's like Jimmy John's like around the corner. There's a Westin hotel connected. It's like got a sky bridge connecting to the convention center that you can go there. There's like a bar in there that has some pretty good food. And then like if you take the street, I think it's like Summer Street, that the convention floor is on, or convention center is on. If you take that across a bridge, there's like a nice little section with some like Chinese food and a Chipotle and stuff like that. There is, you're gonna be waiting a lot of lines, so like I would say try and prioritize what you want to see, but keep in mind that not everything that's really cool is on the convention floor. Like, just to give you an idea, the convention floor is kind of split into 3 sections. One is like the tabletop section, where it's just a bunch of tables, and like people rent tabletop and board games and just sit down with strangers and play games, and that's really cool. I've like walked through there just to see, and like people play pickup D&D games and stuff for a whole day. It's a part of PAX that I never really interact with, but I think it's super rad. And then there's like the indie games section, which is now like grown into basically a whole third of the convention floor, which is awesome. You can play a whole bunch of stuff there because the lines are all pretty short and whatnot. And then there's like the big AAA game section. And then like there are rooms around the convention floor that are full of like one room I went past last year was just a whole bunch of Super Smash Brothers stations set up, all with 8-player Smash going. And like people spend their whole day there, just sitting there playing Smash Brothers. And those rooms are open past the hours of the convention center. So like, or the floor, I should say. So like, that's only 10 to 6, but those rooms are open until like 9 or 10. And that's where all the theaters are, where all the panels are, and all of that. There are some where it's just like accessibility games, or some where it's like more tabletop games, or like there's the Kickstarter room with a bunch of cool indie games in one of those rooms as well. So just like, walk around. There, not everything that is worth seeing is on the convention floor. That's about, and bring good shoes. So PAX is rad. I think you're gonna have a great time.
Are you doing requests as far as games to check out?
I'm open to it. Yeah, if there's something at PAX that people want me to see, tweet at me at Alfighter27. Let me know. I'll try and see it.
Monster Boy in a Cursed Kingdom.
No, I did see that at PAX once here. Well, I think that was last year. I saw that. It was fine. I'm gonna go see Dark Souls Remastered. I'm on it. PI out there. I'm doing it for Ali Mushka. But yeah, I don't know. We've got a lot of appointments scheduled. There's a lot of hashtag content that's going to be going up, which will segue into our bet pretty well. But yeah, that's it. If you want me to see something, let me know. We did get a voicemail that we didn't play last week, and I wanted to wait until everyone was here, but fucking Tony's computer had to go and die. But I don't want to leave Silver PR in the wings. Oh, he sent it to my Gmail. That's right. We got a voicemail from Silver PR.
Oh, finally.
Silver NY, as he's may now be known, because he's off in New York. Basically letting us know what he's been up to since he's moved to New York City. Let me see if I can actually find the voicemail. It's pretty recent. I did my taxes. Thank you for reminding me. There we go. He says, "Hello, fellow. Long time no see. Since my move to NYC, things have been interesting. I want to take a load off my chest, and I think you guys of IPPod deserve to know how things are for real. Here's to better days." And he did a little beer emoji. Till then, have a fun one. All right.
What up, guys? Hello, PR. I hope everybody's doing well.
8.5 minutes. Strap in.
Yes, it's me. Sorry, I'm a little bit down right now because I don't know. This voicemail feels a little bit different, a little bit special because you guys know that I'm alive because I've been posting on Twitter. Trust me, it's not the ghost of me who is posting on Twitter about wrestling and the Overwatch. I can assure you that. But I feel like this is the right time to already amass my strength, courage, and energy to try to just talk about this and talk about what I'm dealing with for the past 6-7 months. And it's the right time, and I think like you guys that I consider my friends deserve to know. So without further ado, let's go at it. So Hurricane Maria passed through Puerto Rico. We all know that. Everybody has seen that. Everybody has seen the aftermath. It's not fake news what it's been dealing with. My government is just a piece of crap when it comes to managing my country and how they have been dealing with all of this, because let's be honest, they were not prepared for something like this. And obviously, your leader, because he's not my leader, it's been a prick about it. So just leave that to that. And obviously, with something like this, there was going to be an exodus of people leaving my country. And I was part of that exodus. So I moved to New York. And it was something that it was in the plans already for 2017. And the initial plan was my girlfriend was going to leave here with New York with my kids to get the help that my older son that has autism get it, because in my country, my health system, it was just a piece of shit. So the initial plan was she comes in, and then by the time Christmas come and I already amassed enough money to save, I was gonna come with them. But everything got sped up because of this hurricane. The reason why is because it's not because I couldn't bear the fact that I didn't have electricity or water or internet or cell service. It's because the whole situation of how my government was handling it. I was afraid that the mismanaging of my government or not being prepared for something like this in my country and the lack of interest from the US government, aka that leader in the White House, uh, was going to affect or put in jeopardy the safety of me or my kids or my girlfriend. So I decided just to leave it everything behind and just start over in New York. And once I moved to New York, we stayed like a couple days with my in-laws, and after that, you know, we went through the welfare system. They gave us family shelter, and I've been living there since then, and food stamps and all that stuff. And I must say that once I got here to New York, first of all, I wasn't that excited because I know what I was leaving behind, and it got me to a depressive state to the point that I was barely doing nothing. I was barely talking. I was barely had any will to live in the first couple weeks when we got here. To the point that pretty much my girlfriend was taking care of two babies and an adult by herself. Uh, Obviously, we brought some money with us to to sustain us and do a couple things like like a pseudo vacation so we can visit some places. But obviously that money was gonna run out, and the weeks passed by, Halloween passed by, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Pretty much by the end of the year, we were getting into that critical point of not having enough money, and you know, I kicked myself in the head, got my gears turning, got out of that depressive state, and pretty much started to get a job. Now, I started instead of waiting for the welfare system to force me to get a job. I voluntarily started going to these nonprofit organizations that I was looking for. I was finding out about, and help me get into workshops and to help me get resumes, start to polish my interview skills and whatnot. And thankfully, by the end of February, I have a job, and I'm speaking to you from the place that I'm working at because I'm doing the graveyard shift, and it's a great place to work. I'm working as a concierge, and doing more than the minimum wage. So that's a good thing, full time. So it's a nice place to work now, and it's different from what I was doing before. And I'm glad that I'm having a job right now, and start to save money so we can you know get out of the shelter and just our heart start having our own place to live and jumpstart our lives. Keep moving forward. Uh, but when it comes to leaving everything behind, I mean, I left my parents. I left my sister, my brothers. I left my pets. That was the hardest part, leaving my pets behind. But at least, hopefully, they're in good hands.
Hmm.
And you know, when it comes to video games wise, now that we're in a video game podcast, actually, I brought myself my PS4. I brought my collection of PS4 games. When it comes to everything else, that all my hundreds of video games from the past, Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, all the way up to PS3. I left everything with a friend of mine. That pretty much I left it like a custodian slash owner because I pretty much tell him, "This is all yours. Do whatever you want to do with it." Pretty much a weight out of my shoulders was left because I left everything with somebody that I know he was gonna enjoy it as much as I did. And we're talking about not just video games. We're talking about uh, action figures, anime, manga, even VHS tapes of anime from Neon Evangelion and Bubblegum Crisis days.
Nice.
That old school. So yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, it's a jump start, and I got my head out of my ass, and hopefully, this is a good thing that it's happening right now in my life. Being a grown ass old man, 37 years old. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm getting into the midlife crisis, and God knows, I'm just babbling right now. You know what? Thank you guys for listening to me. So, hopefully, in the near future, we start talking a little bit more. You know what's the most thing that sucks? That the shelter that I live has so sucky internet. I can barely try to play Fortnite. Fortnite meta is so strong. I don't know if I can manage it. So, but that's a talk for another day. I don't know, guys. Thanks for listening to me. I know it's a long one, but it's been a while, and I need to get this out of my chest. And you know what? I feel better now. Good. Thanks for listening to you guys. I love you guys. So, without further ado, have a fun one. Have a happy weekend, because I forgot what day of the weekend you guys record. Silver PR, signing out.
Thank you, Silver PR. It's good to hear from you again. We love you too. I just want to put it out there, if folks listening, I highly encourage you to do this if you would like to donate toward the Puerto Rico Disaster Relief Fund, which is still an ongoing situation. One of the better resources that I'm aware of, the Hispanic Federation. You can find HispanicFederation.org, UNIDOS Disaster Relief and Recovery Program to support Puerto Rico is a favored donation avenue that I would recommend. I'm glad things have turned a corner for you in the new year, Silver PR. I think it's going to be good from here on out, but it's good to hear from you again. I know he tweeted at us last week. He's catching up on the show too, so I'm excited for him to catch up. Sorry we couldn't play it last week. I want to make sure as many of us were here as possible, but all the love, Silver PR. It's good to hear from you. But man, I'll say, like, it's hard to kind of get a grasp on how terrible that situation was, but I've been trying to stay relatively abreast of what's going on over there, and it's bad. It's still not great 7 months later, or however many months it's been. So any kind of donation that anybody can make is better than absolutely nothing. So just keep that in mind. But we're sending you all the good vibes. We should rebrand Silver PR as Silver NY. I think it's part of the aesthetic at this point. So yeah, it's good to hear from you. That's it. That's all of our emails and whatnots. Let's throw the show out. How's that sound?
Yeah.
You can be a part of the show. You can tweet your questions at IrrationalPod. Use the hashtag IPQ just like Nicole did. You can send us a voicemail like Silver PR did. 404-590 1337 is the voicemail line. And our email is mailsack@irrationalpassions.com. Some other things, just follow the site on Twitter at IrrationalPod. George does a lot of amazing social media stuff over there. You can follow the site on Instagram at IrrationalPassions as well. There's tons of really cool stuff up there. Rate and review the show on iTunes and Stitcher and Google Play, because it helps us out a lot. Go check out Input, our other show, and Get Acquainted, my other show. First episode, Andrew and A, still up there, still good. IMHO. Working on the second episode, which will be out next month. Very excited about it, or I guess this month, depending on when you're listening to this. And everything else, Irrational Passions, including a bunch of really cool reviews and pieces and whatnots. IrrationalPassions.com is the place to be. Let's make some bets. So I've thought of a good bet for this week. I'm going to this bet, and you'll understand why in a moment. The bet I wrote was how many total published pieces will Irrational Passions post over PAX East weekend. And by PAX East weekend, I mean Thursday through Sunday. So there will be stuff that publish after that, but I'm only including the weekend pieces. And there won't be a normal show next week, so we will resolve this the week after. So I guess it would just be Scott and Nabashin for this one, because I'm going to be contributing to these pieces, so I feel like I'll have a bit too much of a hand in it. but I want you guys to bet. I'll let you know. So there are 4 days of PAX. We have at least 15 appointments, just to give you guys some like insider information. Typically, PAX recommends that there will be 1 post per person that was given a media badge. There will be 6 of us, or 2 posts per person per day. There will be 6 of us attending, so like that totals out to about 48 posts. 4 times 6, right? That's 24 posts. So I would say use that as kind of like a springboard, maybe roughly 24 posts total, and then just kind of guess within that weekend span. So when you guys are ready, you can put your bets in the chat, and then I will I'll start looking up the last week's bet. So I'm really excited about it. All right. Damn. This is quite the spread. Nabishan bet 20 and Scott bet 8. I'm feeling the faith, Scott. We'll see. We shall see. Last week's bet was how many words will be in the first reply of the currently pinned or most recent standalone tweet of Far Cry Game Twitter account. There is a new pinned tweet. We were worried that there wouldn't be a new pinned tweet. So the first reply is an image, so I will go off the second reply. The first reply is a really good image, though. It is 6 words. I bet 7. Barrett bet 8. He was betting for your team, Scott, the meme squad. And Nabishan bet 17. The reply is amazing character and an amazing game. And the pin tweet is watch Greg Brick, in parentheses, the father, unbox the the father edition of Far Cry 5. I guess he plays the main villain, the weird like priest guy with the beard and whatnot. So the first reply is amazing character and an amazing game. I don't know how you feel about
Timely.
that. Timely. There you go. But that means I won. Yay! I was off by 1 though. Gotta narrow it down. It brings the totals up. The team BitConnect, as it still stands, is rocking hard at 4 points, and Team Nanashi up to 7 points.
Are they still BitConnect?
Honestly, I haven't been up to date on the memes, so I can't change it right now. But we should definitely change it.
We should update the memes when Tony's here again. How he stays up to date on the memes. So BitConnect. So that means I have won Danny Warres' love and affection until it's up for grabs again in 2 weeks. And the final word. As for things I disagreed with or want to reiterate, I didn't really disagree with anything on this show, but
silver.
Yeah, I do want to reiterate. Go donate to the Puerto Rico Relief Fund. It's really important. Like, Silver PR is obviously a friend of ours and a big part of this show. You would be supporting us by supporting Puerto Rico, and you'd be supporting millions of people displaced by a terrible tragedy that, like, frankly, that country was not prepared for. Which, speak whatever you will about problems and whatnot. You're going to help out people who are technically fellow Americans, and I think that's really rad. So go do that. And again, the website, just to pull it up, HispanicFederation.org, and specifically the UNIDOS Disaster Relief and Recovery Program. That's UNIDOS. That's the one Lin-Manuel Miranda has been pimping out a lot. So that is the one I've donated to personally. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Silver PR, for letting us know how you're doing. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of 2-Player Co-op and our closing music of The World Is Saved. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Nabishan, for joining me. As always, big hugs all the way around. I will be at PAX East in Boston next week. Come say hi. Come give me a hug. Possibly do both at the same time. And go watch all of our cool stuff. Check out IrrationalPod.com. Until then, I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games. Stay rational. We will talk to you all next week.
Titles.
Scott, titles. Deep.
So many tabs. All right.
Gotta close out all these tabs.
The sucking motion. Auto updates. The curse of the Black Pearl.
It's a really good one, that mission.
You said it.
I know, but I'm just
Is
writing
this
it down.
in sync with NATO?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Black Kratos. Have your cake and eat it too. Mars turd.
Perfect.
I'm not a fucking baby. Shoes.
Shoes. Let's get some shoes. What do you guys like?
Shoes.
What was shoes from?
You suggesting for Nicole?
Oh yeah, man, it took.
No,
me
I still don't. But shoes.
Shoes. All right.
Shoes.
Scott, do you want to say the episode number? And Option, do you want to say the title?
Sure.
All right.
It's 320 or Jesus, 372.
This is the Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 372.
Shoes.
Let's get some shoes. That's it. You can stop recording now.
These shoes suck.
Oh my god. 372. Shout out to shoes. That's a meme right
no.
there.
No, don't shout out to inanimate objects. Stop it.
Fair enough. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.